are excited you're here, and we have a fantastic program for you tonight. And before I get started, I want to call your attention to this slide. We are smartphone friendly here tonight, so why don't you go ahead and pull out your cell phone and take a quick picture of this slide. Because while you should silence your cell phone, you may still use it for social media purposes if you're so inclined. The hashtag for tonight's event is XI Demo Day. You can see our Twitter handle and those of our teams and sponsors on this slide. So feel free to tweet tonight and share the love. So this phone number on the screen also is one we'd like for you to use throughout the evening to text feedback. So you can text a sentence here and there, just loved the food, hated the beer, thought this team was awesome, thought Vance needs to work on his stage presence. Something like that would be great. No, do that, and maybe later we'll explain how we use that number. So hopefully many of you know Exponential Impact is a newly formed nonprofit organization established to cultivate a strong entrepreneurial ecosystem in Colorado Springs, attract investment, and create high-wage jobs. The XI Accelerator program is our first and flagship program. So we opened applications in December 1st of 2017, and in our first year of programming, we had approximately 50 startups from all over the world apply for our program. Applications were primarily based on our target industries of AI, blockchain, and cybersecurity. Then in April, we invited 7 companies to attend Launch Camp at Bear Trap Ranch, our pre-accelerator program. The teams you see today were selected from that group to participate in the full 11-week program. And we are really happy that all the teams who received an invitation accepted that, and as of today are completing the program. That doesn't always happen with accelerators. We hosted our kickoff event at Ivy Wild School on June 1st, and many of you were there in attendance, so how has time flown? So when we welcomed these startups, 3 of the 4 teams we welcomed to Colorado Springs as well. So 3 of the teams were not from Colorado Springs, from Iowa, Kentucky, Dubai, all over the place. So since then, we've been working through a curriculum that was based kind of on a holistic model on 6 peaks. So the first being story and innovation, health and wellness, awareness and authenticity, leadership, operational excellence, and mentoring. We want to build great companies. We really do. But we also want to build thriving leaders. And I can tell you that we're delighted with where these companies are today and the founders who started them. Programs like the XI Accelerator happen much more easily in an environment where you have strong political support. And before I go further, I want to recognize many of the elected officials who are here and have been here today, some earlier today and some this evening. Earlier, we had U.S. Senator Michael Bennet here, and he did a roundtable with our teams and heard about their industries and what they're doing. I know that Senator Kent Lambert from the state of Colorado is here with us tonight. Thank you, Senator Lambert. Representative Pete Lee and Terry Carver were both here earlier, and then Mayor John Suthers, we're glad to have you. City Council Representative Don Knight was here, and many of you probably got to meet with him. And I think we had a couple others sign up, but I haven't seen them yet. So hopefully I didn't miss anybody. And then also, programs like this cannot happen without really strong key partners. So some of our partners have been operating behind the scenes in ways you might never know. And I first want to call out Colorado College, which has been an incredible partner in hosting our meetings, because we're not in our permanent home yet. So they've hosted our meetings and housed many of our teams this summer. So we ran a lot of programs in that new Hibble Community Center that you see at the corner of Uinta and Nevada, and that's amazing. So it worked really well for our teams. UCCS, thank you for your early support. Venkat Reddy, Chancellor Reddy, and Martin Wood and Stephanie Fortune have been really on the team from the beginning, and we appreciate that they got it early on. Then we also would like to thank, let's see here, who else we've got? Oh, Epicentral Co-working, amazing. Lisa Tesarowitz and her team, again, without having a space for the everyday of where the teams were gonna work. Frank and Kayla, who accommodated us as well. And what an incredible place for our startups to meet with other entrepreneurs in the community. Thank you at Chamber and EDC, Dirk Draper, Yemi, Patrice, I see Marjorie here. Thank you. One, for allowing me the opportunity to launch from one role in economic development into this one and having our back the whole time. So we just feel like an extension of your team still. Thank you to the City of Colorado Springs, Mayor Suthers, Jeff Green. Thank you for your support and just, again, understanding what we were doing from the beginning. Chelsea Gaylord for working closely with our teams on a week-to-week basis. That's been amazing. From El Paso County, thank you Josh Hanley and Whitley Crow for coming to Launch Camp, meeting with our startups, generating ideas. A huge, huge thank you to Dave Steigerwald and Sparks Wilson, Eric Ryan of Stockman Cass Ryan. Those teams have been amazing. They've worked with us, they've worked with our teams. They helped get us started, and then they've helped ever since just like keep us out of trouble. So thank you for that. And then also, the last partner I want to mention is the Global Accelerator Network, which is truly a global network of accelerators worldwide. They took us in our first year of operation, which is not normal. So we appreciate that they let us be part of that network, and they have tremendous resources, not just for us, but also for the companies that you're going to see here tonight. So thank you, GAN, for including us and for making us a part of the team. So with that, the other thing I would say is the Exponential Impact would not be in existence without the vision, commitment, and early seed funding from Vance Brown. So yes, thank you. It has been less than a year since we started this adventure, and while we believed this could work, we weren't sure that it would work. So we didn't really know, but it was worth trying. But it is working, and it's largely because of Vance's passion for mentoring and investing in early stage entrepreneurs. So please join me in welcoming CEO of the National Cybersecurity Center, co-founder and executive chairman of Sharewell Software, and Exponential Impact founder and board president, Vance Brown.
No, we wouldn't be here without Hannah Parsons leading this organization. That's why we're here. There's vision, and trust me, as an entrepreneur, there's no greater joy, truly, than having a dream. But to make it happen are the one in a million kind of dreams that really come to reality like this. So Hannah, you and your team, you know, Michelle and Ethan, just incredible job. I think Hannah is not only one of the greatest leaders in our community, but in this state and one day in this nation. I believe that. You are truly remarkable in what you do and what you execute on. So to our teams, you can relax. This is the party. This gets to be the party. You're going to be able to get up here, and I mean, I don't care if you bring a glass of wine up here. No, Michelle's not going to allow that. But if it wasn't for her, no, this is fun. I mean, they did an amazing job. I just can't wait till you get to hear what they have to share, and just the progress they've made is truly remarkable. Now, a little bit later, I'm going to share, for me, a little bit about my why, because I think it's important to start with the why, like Simon Sinek says. But for now, I get to do something. I've been waiting for this moment, like to introduce the mayor of our city. I have never gotten to do that, and this is the time this is one of those defining moments that I get to have. I got to tell you, I am so proud of this city, and I'm even more proud of what I've seen, how it's evolved, and certainly under your leadership, Mayor. I mean, I look and, because a company like with Sharewell, we got to sell this city to bring people here, and, entrepreneurs, we've got to be able to sell that. And, I mean, if you can't sell, the number one most desirable place to live in the country, the number two, best place to live. We just heard that number 4 as far as, small company success, number 4 in the nation out of, 50-something cities that were reviewed. But I will say this, I mean, first of all, it's stopping now. As far as this Rodney Dangerfield that you can't do high-tech in Colorado Springs, that's over. I mean, that was only a rumor before. And, the stake in the ground is that is clearly gone and under your leadership. And also, from my own perspective, the National Cybersecurity Center bringing cyber is a major thing for this state and this country in Colorado Springs, and headquartered here. You have been the vice chair. You've been the visionary for this, certainly along with Senator Lambert and others in terms of what you have done. So it is, and oh, by the way, I started out doing. No offense to lawyers here, but it's no fun. But I did intellectual property law. The idea that we got, Olympic City, USA. I mean, that's just you can't do that. And yet we did it, and you and your wife, I think, Janet, just thank you for that. That's amazing in terms of, again, if you can't sell Colorado Springs, just don't sell anything. So it is absolutely my honor to introduce Mayor John Suthers. Thank you so much.
All I can say, Lance, if introducing me is a defining moment of your life, you need to get a life. Thank you, Vance and Hannah. You know, it is truly exciting to see the progress that Exponential Impact has made in this first year of operations and programming. Congratulations, really, to you and your team. I'd also like to thank and recognize today's sponsors, William Blair and KKR, not only for their support of tonight's program, but their confidence and investment in Colorado Springs. As Vance stole all my lines, U.S. News and Report ranked Colorado Springs the #1 most desirable place to live. And this week, Thumbtack, on the basis of a survey of 7,500 small businesses, gave Colorado Springs an A+ for business friendliness and ranked us the #4 most business-friendly city in America. You know, those two recognitions help create a powerful draw for entrepreneurs and businesses that are thinking about starting up and building in Colorado Springs. As many of you know, my top 3 priorities as mayor of Colorado Springs continue to be #1, collaborative leadership, maintaining a positive working relationship between the mayor's office, the city council, the city of Colorado Springs, and all the other governmental entities in the Pikes Peak region, because we really are all partners in this effort. #2, of course, investment in infrastructure. We had a very serious infrastructure deficit. This has included addressing the city's pressing infrastructure challenges, and because of that, we're actively improving our roads, bridges, and our long-neglected stormwater system. You may have encountered a cone zone or two in Colorado Springs. Please consider that progress. Citizen education and buy-in has been instrumental in advancing this priority of investing in infrastructure. And frankly, as Dirk Draper knows, when we talk to companies about expanding here or moving here, you know, there's just a couple things they focus on: your workforce, your affordability, and the other thing they want to see is investment in infrastructure by the city. And third, of course, the big priority has been promoting new job creation, helping companies that are already here to expand and attract new companies to Colorado Springs, Olympic City, USA. And I'm pleased to say that we've made great strides on all 3 of those priorities. And that third priority specifically is bolstered tremendously by organizations like Exponential Impact. The cultivation of a strong entrepreneurial ecosystem is a key component of our economic development strategic plan. And it goes without saying that company creation is a tremendous driver of job creation. Some companies growing here in our midst that you're going to hear from: Barn Owl, Bytable, Mandy AI, and Kubrix. Our due congratulations on completing this 2018 Accelerator program. For those of you who are new to Colorado Springs, welcome. We hope your time here has been of great value to you and to your growing companies. We also hope, of course, that you all choose to stay and grow here in Colorado Springs. For those of you here tonight who have invested in these companies through the Tech Ventures COS Seed Fund, thank you. Thank you for your investment. We know the availability of early stage capital is essential to the creation of a strong entrepreneurial ecosystem, and their success simply wouldn't be possible without your support. So I look very much forward to seeing the pitches tonight, to seeing the success of these companies, and foremost, to the continuing growth and success of Exponential Impact. Thanks so much.
You know, it was only, see where we are here. It was only a year ago, Hannah and I were sharing notes that we were in a room, I think this week, at the Global Accelerator Network up in Denver, learning how to do an accelerator. And and you have to learn, right? That's part of the process of learning how to do it. And so the fact that we're here a year later in this kind of room with this kind of community support, state support, is truly remarkable. Speaking of the support of what we're here doing, I will say this of like, this ought to be another one of those in some newspaper or magazine. When you're a first-year accelerator and you get names like William Blair and KKR, two of the top private equity companies in the world, to come in and say, we so believe in your community and what's happening and the leadership there and what's happening in the entrepreneurship network. We want to be a part of it. I'm going to have Andrew come up here in a moment. But I want to tell you a little bit about this first. So when we're thinking about Accelerator, because I heard that that we're the Rodney Dangerfield of high-tech communities and get no respect, and what do we got to do? I said, well, Accelerator just makes so much sense. Where is Accelerator for Colorado Springs? And I just happened to be through Sherwell at a William Blair conference, and I was actually speaking with Andrew there, and introduce him in a moment, but he basically said, oh, the top accelerator in the world is right here. And if you're willing, I'll be glad to get you up with Jim O'Connor, and I'll pick you up at 7 a.m. in the morning. We'll go over and check it out. And literally, if you ever heard of the Mercantile Building in Chicago, it covers a whole block, and they have like 360,000 feet, and you see this incubator, accelerator, and all these companies, and it's supported by private industry, it's supported by the local university system, it's supported by the local government. It's just an amazing thing. And then he picked me up early in the morning. I'm not necessarily a morning person, so I appreciate that. And then we got a tour. So one of the general partners for William Blair, Jim O'Connor, it was one of the co-founders of 1871. So it's just one of these fate things, connect the dots things. You can't connect the dots looking forward, only looking back, of how another one of those defining moment things. But at the end of it, I was, amazed by it. But Jim said, hey, we'll be glad to help you. We'll be, your brother, sister kind of organization to try to help, make sure you guys, do it the right way and follow, maybe not the same line, don't land the same landmines we did, et cetera. And I immediately stopped and pulled out my cell phone and said, okay, tell me in my camera, because I'm going to share this with all of Colorado Springs of what you're committing to. So I want to start by sharing this. This is exactly what happened. This was just at that moment, I put the camera on, my phone on Jim, and this is what he said.
Yeah, we're going. Okay, so hey guys, I'm Jim O'Connor. I'm the founder and chairman of 1871 around here. It's a 300,000 square foot incubator in Chicago, largest in the U.S. We've now been in business for 5 years. We have 500 companies across the gamut, from food to technology to e-commerce, security, you name it. We work very closely with a lot of the big companies in Chicago: United, Motorola, AbbVie. Today we have AbbVie in town doing an innovation day within the center here. We built this out over several years. It's run by a serial entrepreneur by the name of Howard Tolman, who's had 12 successful startups. We've had great success from support from the city, serial entrepreneurs, and various incubating hubs within town, which include Techstars, Wisdom, which works with women entrepreneurs, The Bunker, which works with veteran entrepreneurs, and many other groups across the city. We've had support from the city as well as the state, major companies, and many individuals who spend their time supporting these 500 companies to create economic development in Chicago and the Midwest. So happy to be of help anytime you guys have questions. Thanks a lot.
So they have, and the first time I said, hey, Andrew, can you support this? And he was like, right there, absolutely. So I want to introduce Andrew Feitster, and just come up here and say a little bit about William Blair and why you guys chose to support us here. We're so grateful.
Thank you, Vance. So a little bit about me. My name is Andrew Feitster. I work at William Blair in Chicago. You may ask why Colorado Springs. Well, I lived in Colorado Springs about 10 years ago. So for about 2 years I was here, and then I lived in Denver for about 5 years, and then shifted over to Chicago. And Colorado's always been near and dear to my heart. So that was one of the reasons that I think Vance and I connected out of the gates. But a little bit about the firm and why this makes sense. Obviously, you saw Jim O'Connor. He's our global head of EC, and he was responsible for founding 1871, and it's been a very nice relationship between William Blair and 1871. We've helped a lot of those budding companies come public. We've helped them with some of their M&A transactions and so forth, but William Blair's been around since 1935. So it's a private company. We have about 18 offices, 1,500 employees, over probably 3 to 5 different countries across And our investment bank is a big part of our company, as well as research and private wealth. So the reason that 1871 has made a lot of sense as a partner is we find them early, right? And as you know, when somebody becomes a big company, a lot of people are already there. And so we invest in the community and the ecosystem, and investing in the ecosystem in Chicago has really worked out well for us. And one of the things that I had talked about with our team is, it's great to have spots in San Francisco and Chicago and New York, but some of the other smaller spots that maybe we don't have a presence in, like Colorado and Colorado Springs, and obviously we linked up with Vance, and it just so happened that day that 7 o'clock a.m. worked. He said, I wanted to start an incubator and an accelerator, and I said, well, let's give this a go. And I didn't really think that within a year we'd be sitting here and I'd be talking in front of you saying, hey, we're going to do this. So obviously, it really depends, as Jim said in the video, about the serial entrepreneurs and the leadership and the mentors. And Hannah and Vance have really taken the initiative, and that's why we've partnered with Exponential Impact. And to partner with Vance and Hannah is something that's important, because we're going to be on the ground floor, and to be able to see some of these budding companies, whether they are startup or maybe Series A, and help them along the lines and have an ecosystem that we were part of building, I think is a different type of value add that you're not seeing a lot of investment banks doing in some of their smaller communities. And so that was one of the main reasons I obviously enjoy Vance, and we connected through Sherwell, but this is a really big passion project of his, and I love private equity, and I love startups, so it was great to connect on that level. And it's been fun all day talking to all the different startups and all the entrepreneurs, and I see a lot of different areas that we might all work together down the line. So it's been a great opportunity for the firm, as well as myself, also to get back to Colorado, because let's be frank, I miss it. I appreciate the friendship, and I appreciate the opportunity to be a sponsor with KKR in the city, and to have the city behind this movement is a huge initiative. So kudos to Vance and Hannah, and I look forward to talking to you all later.
Yeah, I'd like to say a little words. KKR could not be here, but I feel like, in many ways I'm part of that, or let's say we're part of them. Sherwell Software in the last, let's say, year and a half has received almost $250 million. Oh, you can't get investment in Colorado Springs. Oh, did somebody say that? They've invested almost $250 million in Sherwell Software, so they've just been an amazing partner. And so others, by the way, did you know that KKR has probably invested, I think, upwards of around $30 billion in Colorado. And so I think it's their second biggest investment as far as a state, other than California. Other companies they've invested in here with Sherwell, First Data, Optiv, Ping Identity, and certainly in the, let's call it the technology space and security technologies, they've invested in Ping Identity, Optiv, ForgeRock, and Darktrace. And it's just Vinny Lettieri, who's one of the partners there, just said, and I quote, just so proud and excited to be part of this event and what's happening in Colorado Springs and in Colorado. So really appreciate them. And then certainly, this doesn't happen without, the mayor and the city, Jeff Green and others all supporting what we're about. It's a synergy. Like, the reason I wanted to do this is I just started seeing the synergy of this community between government, between, the educational environment, between industry, this entrepreneurial ecosystem that was building. It was like the synergy it was just time. And so thank you for that. When for many years I spent most of my life, kind of head down working on software companies, and didn't have a lot of time in the community. And by the time I, poked my head out of the sand in terms of getting involved more in the community of what's Colorado Springs, what's going well, to me this was like, what's after Sherwell for me? And I was thinking, I just didn't really know, but something about Judea and, Jerusalem starting in a particular home made a lot of sense of what I could start with. And so I started going out, and I actually went to a business meeting at Phil Lane's. And this is what I was hearing about Colorado Springs: low-paying jobs, low tax base. And by the way, I didn't know all this. I'm sorry, but I just didn't know this was our story. Can attract and grow high-tech companies, and lack of high-tech startup funding in region. This was the narrative of Colorado Springs that I was hearing from business leaders in Colorado Springs. I'm like, I just don't, I had trouble believing it, so let's go see what we can validate. So low-paying jobs, is that true? Unfortunately, that is true. I think we need to, there's got to be a change there in terms of the low-paying jobs, because when you have low-paying jobs on average, then it's true, you have a low tax base. So that was also true. So we have the frown face. However, can attract and grow high-tech companies. What are they talking about? I mean, we just heard the statistic of small companies and their success in this region. Just not true. Sharewell, other companies that are here represented here. It's just, that's not true. Can we do better? Absolutely. Does Boulder and, let's say, Denver have a little bit more in terms of some of the startup community? Yes, but there's nothing here that prohibits us. It's just a focus in terms of us as a community and what we're going to do. So this is a smiley face. That's just not, that's just wrong. Nope. No, he needs shirts. Nope. Lack of high-tech startup funding in region. Nope, we just talked about that. Not true. So if you do these last two, honestly, we're going to get smiley faces across the board, and that's what's happening in this community, and that's what's going to happen. So, and this is one of those stake-in-the-ground nights where we just, this rumor mill, I don't know where those things start, but it's just crap sorry, but that's how I feel. So this Colorado Springs Accelerator Program, Security Technologies, Entrepreneurial Ecosystem, it really does take an ecosystem to accomplish anything big, because there's no noble story that's done alone. It's always done in community, right, and with people. And, you know, for me, and some of the technologies that make this, obviously with the mayor's help and others, Kent Lambert, like we've talked about, and the governor's help, we have the National Cybersecurity Center. Colorado Springs was chosen for that. And so you're talking about cyber technologies. What are cyber technologies? Well, they're security technologies. So last year we started saying, you know, what are some security technologies that we're going to be known for? In fact, we're going to be the epicenter of some of these technologies. You got to sometimes name it, right? You just got to say it, like we're going to the moon. Remember? I didn't say that. Kennedy obviously said that. But it happened. So that we're going to do this. So blockchain and emerging, security technology, artificial intelligence, and cybersecurity. And then just, a little over a month ago, we're reading the Wall Street Journal. They're starting to tap our lines now, Wall Street Journal, because they know we got it figured out. So in Wall Street Journal, here we are on June 18th, they said there are 3 industries, AI, blockchain, and cybersecurity, that dominate the 2018 list of companies that look like emerging tech leaders. So we're nailing it, we're crushing it, we've got the right markets we're going after, so that's a good thing. But so, yeah, they copied us on that. In fact, we're being interviewed by them on Monday, so that's kind of exciting. So the financial mechanics of this ecosystem, so everybody knows how this works out and how some of this community has stepped up, so there really is high-tech funding here. So Exponential Impact is a 501c3. That makes it's a nonprofit. We have received our determination letter. That's a done deal. We then invite in these cohorts. They're entrepreneurs. We had entrepreneurs from really at least 7 countries come to our launch camp. We invited these 4 that you're going to hear from tonight, and you're going to get why we invited them tonight. You're going to see it. And so they come. Now, here's the issue. They want to be involved in this program, but they don't necessarily have the funding to come to a program like this. So how do we do that? Well, we created this Tech Ventures. This is a for-profit, Colorado Springs LLC. It's a for-profit venture. It's a fund here in the Springs. And what this does, it provides money to the entrepreneurs, the cohort, and in exchange, equity comes into Tech Ventures. Now, eventually, not right away, Exponential Impact has actually been funded by some of you. And we, it's a nonprofit, and this is like what the 1871 model. We really did. It would not be here today but for this private funding that we've received. And so we're so grateful for some of you that have been involved in that. Now, over time, in terms of Tech Ventures, what it's becoming and what it is, and we're really proud of this, it's actually a social enterprise. And what that means is, over time, when these companies crush it and go public, these ones you're going to hear from tonight, then part of this as far as they call it the carry from Tech Ventures, at least like 10% of that then goes back into Exponential Impact. So this is a classic social enterprise, for-benefit type of organization. And so that's how the funding goes today. So Tech Ventures is a for-profit social enterprise investment fund created to provide seed capital for the Colorado Springs entrepreneurial high-tech ecosystem and a financial supporter of the nonprofit Exponential Impact. So that's the financial ecosystem. Once again, Exponential Impact is a nonprofit. Hannah, Ethan, Michelle, others involved in that as far as day-to-day staffing. It's an accelerator. There's also an incubator coming, and what that is accelerators, it's practically got an idea, right? And we want to accelerate the idea into a real product and real customers. Now, the incubator stage, hopefully have some customers, and it's really taken to the next stage. We hope to have this, first stage, second stage, third stage. So the accelerator is just kind of the first stage of that, but more is coming. We hope there'll be a year-round program for this. Funding, like I mentioned, is contribution and grants. We're partnered with the NCC, the National Cybersecurity Center, which has allowed, and we're so grateful that the NCC, the board has said now we can have exponential impact coming into our facility at no charge. And so that shows part of that ecosystem as far as what's happening, and also UCCS, because UCCS and their building is allowing NCC to come in rent-free. So it's just, again, do you see the pay it forward thing, how this thing works, this pay it forward? Anyway, really proud of that, the ecosystem. This for-profit organizations, which we talked about, I'm one of the managers. Phil Lane and Bill Miller, by the way, are also, I don't know if they're still here. They were here earlier. I'll tell you this. I needed to see that some of the leaders in this organization, Bill Miller is a entrepreneur, high-tech, been very successful, actually has a fund. Phil Lane, incredible philanthropist here in the Springs. This was kind of my test case. I went to their office and talked to them. Are you guys in, can we do this? Is this possible, or am I smoking something? I'm talking, what would I be smoking? Anyway, we'll move right along. I don't do that, Mayor. I swear. I don't. I swear. You're thinking you're doing it right. You're on it right. No, I'm not. This is just how I am. The governor called me a runaway train. Is that what he said? Anyway, moving right along. But Phil Lane and Bill Miller, they were the ones that gave me the confidence. No, Vance, this is a real thing. It's for such a time as this. Let's do this. Very grateful for that. We have 10 investors, no staff. It's really a fund where we write checks into the cohorts, and then we appreciate the professional services, which Hannah's already mentioned. I want to, though, call out and do a shout-out to the people who have come on board with this. Phil Lane and Bill, we've already talked about. They're some of the managers of this fund, along with Ron Munns. He's one of my longtime business mentors. He's also an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, and started here in the Springs. Guy Childs, Jay and Jesse, Lisa Tesarowitz, and Doug Stemple and George Lenz, and Chris and Dave Jenkins, and then El Pomar. I want to say briefly here about El Pomar, what that means. We talked about social enterprise. What I love about this is El Pomar, as you know, is a foundation fund for the public good, right? The public good here. They can't invest in, this is called a program-led investment. They hold us accountable to being a social enterprise because they can't invest in it like this unless we are a social enterprise. So we are for the good. And so I'm really proud that they're coming on board and being a part of that. So very grateful for that. But what you came here tonight for is the exponential impact. They have been, offering the mentors here, amazing what you guys have done working with some of these cohorts. So tonight, I want to invite, Ethan, let's see, where are you? You can come on up. Ethan Lavin, give him a hand. He's been, the day-to-day guy's been crushing it. So I'll get off the stage, hand the mic over to him so we can get on with hearing the real stuff here tonight. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Vance. I'm going to preface this by saying I am not nearly as funny as Vance. Michelle actually told me earlier I have a good newscaster voice, and so I'm going to try not to bore you all to death by tonight, and so I'll try to speed through this as quickly as possible. So everyone, thank you so much for being here tonight. It means a lot. I didn't tell this to Hannah when I actually signed on, but my bar of success for Exponential Impact is that we had a demo day. I didn't even care if it was in a garage for all I cared. As long as we got there, that was the measure of success. And so the fact that we are here at the Broadmoor means the world to me. So thank Vance and Hannah for really getting everything together and really making me believe in the XI really mission. Anywho, my name is Ethan Lavin, if you haven't realized already, and I'm the program manager at Exponential Impact. And the key thing that you're going to hear throughout the entire night that separates the Colorado Springs community apart from many other communities is accessibility. Accessibility to doers, accessibility to makers, and accessibility to movers and shakers. The community surrounding you all today is filled with people with a wide variety of talent and skills, ranging from creative digital marketing all the way to banking and finance. And the one thing among many, you have to pay attention to this, the one thing among many that bound everyone here together is their belief that Colorado Springs is the next greatest startup ecosystem here in the state of Colorado. These people volunteered their time to spend with our cohort. And really, we live in a really fortunate period where everyone really contributed and wanted to spend time with our cohort, and everyone's our neighbors at the end of the day, and the community rallied around us, and that's what makes Colorado Springs the perfect place to have exponential impact, and this is why we are here. But the key facet of our overall XI program is our world-class leaders. We found 7 mentors from throughout the Colorado Springs community who we thought matched our cohort in the best way possible. Unlike other accelerators, which sometimes take a bucket of potential lead mentors and just throw them at their cohorts, leave them to wade and sift through who to actually decide to choose, we actually picked these 7 people, so we took that out of their hands. For the better, I'm gonna say that right now. We had multiple days where our lead mentors got to meet the teams, so it's kind of a speed dating, and so make it really a natural connection. Think of like eHarmony, but a little bit more professional. And so, I will need that, thank you, Michelle. And so each team was paired for 1 to 2 lead mentors who fundamentally act as their Yoda for the 11 weeks. Dustin did not want me to use that Yoda line, but I'm going to use it anyways. And so from acting as a sounding board to bounce ideas off of, really just tap into their network of connections, our lead mentors, we couldn't have done this without them. They played a pivotal role in the evolution and development of our teams throughout the 11 weeks. And so I can't imagine being here today really without them. And so, but enough of me just talking about them. I would like to welcome the 2018 XI Lead Mentors. Would you all please join me on the stage? Thank you. And so unfortunately, Zach Barker, Director of Growth, could not be here today. But I'd love to introduce you to, oh, where he is, John Grover. He was Mandy AI's other lead mentor. John Grover is the managing partner of Sparkhouse. And Sparkhouse is really a human resources productivity and consulting company that works with small to medium-sized entrepreneurial businesses. Leveraging their experience in team building, talent acquisition, and really cultural development, Sparkhouse takes a hands-on approach in working with every one of their clients. Next up, I'd like to introduce you to Kubrick's lead mentor, Leif Ullman, right on the end. And Leif this is a bit of a mouthful title, but I'll try to get it right. Former co-founder / CEO of Kid Reports, but he's now the VP of Engineering of Kid Reports at ProCare Software. Kid Reports is yeah, it's a mouthful. I had to actually write that down a couple times. Kid Reports is a SaaS provider that has created a revolutionary communication solution for childcare and early education providers to really better manage our children's data and enhance communications with their parents. Parents get up-to-date notifications throughout their day of their children's progress to really enhance the better monitoring of educational program. Now I'm going to hand it over to Hannah, who's going to introduce the rest of our lead mentors.
Thank you, Ethan. This is kind of fun watching you all squirm. I can tell you're all really uncomfortable. So third, we have Dustin Sapp and Connor McCluskey, who are both lead mentors for Barn Owl. Dustin, raise your hand, is the CEO of FormStack. So FormStack is a versatile online form solution that streamlines processes for capturing and managing information. With FormStack, businesses and teams of all types and sizes can easily create online forms to automate repetitive business processes and gain rich insights. People can embed forms directly onto their websites and social media profiles to capture leads, as well as use online forms to collect payments, gather feedback, and streamline internal workflows. This flexibility enables organizations to simplify their data collection while expanding their resources. FormStack delivers its intuitive online form solution to over 500,000 users in 112 countries. FormStack recently expanded to Colorado Springs from their headquarters in Indianapolis, and we're glad to have them here. And I just want to say an extra little shout out to both DDA, Susan Edmondson's here today, the Chamber and EDC, the city, the state. That took some creative footwork to really work at that expansion program out, and it's another example of how committed Colorado is to recruiting and growing tech companies. Yeah. Then we have Connor McCluskey. Connor is the CEO of BombBomb, another local success story. And BombBomb makes it easy to use simple videos to build relationships through email, text, and social media, follow up with and convert new leads, connect with active customers, and stay in front of past clients over time. all with the power of video. Customers stay in front of, all with the power of video with the smartphone, tablet, webcam, or any other device. BombBomb gives you complete tracking and analytics, including real-time alerts and relationship scores. People using BombBomb include large sales organizations, real estate, mortgage, and title professionals, consultants and coaches, nonprofits and ministries, marketing agencies, small and medium-sized businesses of all kinds. BombBomb, thank you for being here. Connor, we appreciate your participation. Yeah. They're all going to hire me now as a promoter, don't you think? So last but not least, we have Jan Horsfall and Lisa Tesarowitz, who are lead mentors for Biteable Foods. Jan Horsfall is the founder, president, and CEO of Maxletics. Think of Maxletics as the Match.com for sports sponsorship. They profile elite athletes participating in the Olympics, Ironman Triathlon, World Surfing Tour, X Games, USA Mountain Running, and Bear Chase Running Series. Maxletics profiles brands based upon their influential marketing strategies as part of their business goals, and then they create athlete clusters, groups of 3 to 90 athletes customized for the brands and put in play as powerful influential marketing component, positively affecting consumer purchase outcomes and increasing brand likability. Thank you, Jan. Finally, we have Lisa Tesarowitz. Lisa is an investor, philanthropist, co-founder, and owner of Exponential Co-working. Exponential Co-working, you'd think I would get that one right, wouldn't you? Yeah. Was founded in 2011, serving as the first co-working space in downtown Colorado Springs, and has grown into an incredibly diverse startup and freelance community that is really welcoming to all. Our teams have had a great time there. Exponential is host to monthly startup pitch events, hackathon events such as Startup Weekend in Go Code, Colorado, and host to events and meetups for all their members. Lisa has been a strong and often quiet angel investor to many brands and startups in our community. In 2016, she received the Colorado Governor's Citizenship Medal from Governor Hickenlooper, recognizing her as an emerging community leader. Her influence and contribution to the startup community is significant, and we are grateful to have her on the XI team. With that, I think we're ready for our pitches, right?
Thank you guys so much. Can you give everyone here just a round of applause again? They did a phenomenal job throughout the 11 weeks, and can't say enough how thankful we are. Now that you've seen a little bit about our lead mentors, I want to show you a quick video of where it all began, starting off our launch camp and actual kickoff party.
There are a lot of accelerators in our world, I mean thousands literally, but I believe Exponential Impact actually has a huge differentiator, and that differentiator is called humanity. We focus on more than just the block and tackling of how to build a great technology company. Focus also on the human relationship, on leadership, on how to build great teams and how to lead those teams.
I have an interesting background in both entrepreneurship, community development, economic development, and through those experiences, I have really come to understand that the most important things I think in life and as a measure of success for individuals and for communities, education and employment. Those two things are critical.
What makes great entrepreneurs and what makes successful entrepreneurs, it's way more than the idea, it's the ability to execute. And you're executing with people, and people are what matters. And if you can't work with and build relationships with people, you'll not be successful. If you can change the world.
I love to start and build things. And sometimes you live in a community. I've been in Colorado Springs for about 14 years. And you identify gaps. And sometimes that's my sweet spot, is to be able to find the gap. And having co-founded Exponential Co-working in 2011, and now Lisa Tesarowitz, who's running that superbly, that was a gap back in 2011, was just to find a place to convene entrepreneurs. And now here we are in 2018, able again with such a gift to fill another gap, which is to create an ecosystem where we can attract entrepreneurs and help them get some seed funding to fill a gap that I'm passionate about in entrepreneurship here by attracting companies, helping early stage, helping them get seed funding to grow, and then helping them do that in our community. That's it's a privilege for me to be able to do that.
With that, please everyone give a warm welcome to John Grover as he introduces Mandy AI.
Thank you, everyone. You would think that I could memorize a 2-minute introduction speech, but I can't. I'm old because I'm people Yoda, so bear with me. So I run a company called Sparkhouse, and we are all things people. We work with companies all up and down the Front Range, and I've got to tell you, this is a really great, vibrant community, and I'm really happy to be a part of it. When we first started this program, we had an event at the Ivy Wild School, and I was late, and I couldn't find a parking place, and the first person I ran into as I was rushing into the building was Stephen Hahn. And Stephen was part of Mandy AI, and we started talking, and I asked Stephen, so what do you guys do? And he described this wonderful company that he and Jared founded, and it was about taking thoughts that employees had and using artificial intelligence to turn that into data to help leaders run their business better and make adjustments necessary to help people feel more wanted and people to increase productivity of companies. So I said, wow, that's super. This is so ironic that I ran into you as the first person that I'm talking to here, because that's kind of what I do. I do the people stuff. And so I begged Hannah to allow me to work with those guys, because I said, oh, this sounds like a free product maybe that I could use at some of my clients. So that was terrific. And you know, I asked Jared to kind of describe his company to me, and he said, worry less, lead more. And I said, wow, that's terrific. Well, in the last 11 weeks, you guys have done a lot of stuff, and I've kind of probably seen you every 4 weeks, so I kind of got a nice glimpse of the beginning, the middle, the 3/4 point, and then the end point. And you've done a lot of growing, and you've learned a lot of stuff, and you've certainly interacted well with the Colorado Springs community. So we feel really good about having you here. So without further ado, let me introduce Jared Lafitte and Stephen Hahn of Mandy AI.
Good evening. How's everyone doing? Thank you for the introduction, John. Really appreciate it. My name is Jared Lafitte. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Mandy AI. We are a word analytics platform that empowers decision makers to instantly understand what large groups of people feel and make better decisions in serving them. So what we are is fast, predictive, anonymous, and mobile. Fast, predictive, anonymous, and mobile. We provide a platform that is a decision maker's best friend for understanding two verticals: employee engagement and retention, understanding what employees need and how to serve them, and then customer engagement and retention. We have a unique proprietary one technology that is designed for multiple markets. Why are we here? Because traditional methods of customer feedback aren't effective. If you want to know how your customers are thinking and feeling about your product, sending an email or asking them to fill out a paper survey is just too long. It doesn't capture what they need. And let's say you have customers who've gone to an event and you want to find out how they felt about the performance or about the game or about the speaker. Asking them through an email survey that is given through SurveyMonkey might take weeks to get back, and you may never hear back from them. But the thing is, text messaging is the result of a lot of this pain. We realized we got to harness the power of text messaging to communicate with people right as they feel things. Why? Because 90% of text messages are opened within 10 minutes or less. And if you're less than 18, then it's probably 110% of text messages that are opened within 10 minutes or less. Listen, when event customers aren't happy, and even when product customers aren't happy, the big issue is that they tell everyone except you that the product or the event or the experience was not right. They'll tell their friends, 15 or more people, 13% will tell 15 or more, and 67% are going to mention bad experiences as the reason for churn. But the biggest issue is that only 1 out of 26 unhappy customers actually complain formally to the people who need to hear it the most. That's an issue, that's a problem. But another problem is this, and I know this very well because like John, I come from the world of people work, coaching and training and helping organizations get better. I've sat in rooms with people who said, I don't feel like I can tell my boss what I'm really feeling. I don't feel like I can let my job know what's going on because they won't listen to me or they'll retaliate against me. My voice doesn't matter. And of course, these people leave eventually. I beg them not to, but sometimes they do. And when they do, it can cost up to 2.5 times their salary to the organization. A $50,000 a year employee will cost $106,000 to replace on average. Our solution is giving decision makers a fast, predictive, anonymous, and mobile way to instantly understand what's going on. Here's how we work. First, we send a question. You as a leader can type one question through your Mandy portal to 10 people or 10,000 people or 1 million people. It will all work. That's the power of the technology we have. You can ask them anything, like the question above. And then second, this is where it gets good, we have a collection and analysis platform. Artificial intelligence that's patent pending, proprietary, and has the ability to instantly tell you in less than 1/10 of a second, based on what people say, how likely they are to stay or leave, and how engaged and happy they are. Detecting their mood the way that you would detect someone's mood, except we can do it for 1 million people at once. But the best part is you get insights instantly. The second someone sends back a text, you'll find out what they're thinking and feeling, their overall score, and you'll see the words that your people are using to describe their experience. And then the longer that we're with your company or your organization, the more we get to learn and find out what people are thinking and feeling. Continuous learning, like a relationship. Here's a snapshot of what it looks like to use our product. You're able to type in a question. Let's say you wanted to know how the experience at the Broncos game was. We hope we can get with the Broncos. That would be nice. You can say, how can we improve your experience? And then as people begin responding, you're going to get back a Mandy index, an overall score of their happiness about the experience. And in this case, as you see, bathroom game and friends were words that were used a lot. But bathroom didn't get a very high score. Let's investigate that. Why is that? Because I enjoyed the game, but I had some trouble finding the bathroom. Or the bathrooms could be kept cleaner. And so as people give feedback, you can find out instantly what's going on, what needs to change. You don't have to wait. We are convenient, immediate. We're harnessing text message ability to find out instantly what people feel. You don't even have to go to a separate website when it hits your phone. You can just respond to it like you're responding to a friend. And then we get the message and do the rest. And give you instant engagement and retention analysis. You don't have to wait. And then over time, trends. What's happening with your people over time? We tell you this, we visualize this for you. But the best part, of course, all businesses exist to either reduce risk or increase profit, and we do both. The better decisions you can make about what your people are experiencing, whether employees or customers, the better you have decisions to make with your money. You don't waste anymore when you know what to do. Here's a quick snapshot of our journey. In fall of 2017, we began our initial product work, and we realized we were on to something when we incorporated in May, and because of previous corporate relationships, we began working with companies like Chick-fil-A and Hitachi Vantara and AbbVie. Some paid, some not, but working with their employees and their teams to diagnose and understand what their employees were feeling. We did once-a-week surveys with these groups, hundreds and hundreds of employees, and we got good data, good feedback, and we started talking to the corporate leaders of these organizations. And then, June and July, we came to Exponential Impact, and things really ramped up because we started working with larger companies like Tyson Foods, the largest provider of meat in the United States, and we realized we can help them identify turnover in Spanish, turnover issues. And we began doing experiments with the NFL Players Association. And then, as of August 18, now we're working with over 1,000 users a week. We have enterprise testing and multiple investment offers, and we're patenting our product. But the best part is this. Through an organization named College AD, we now have the opportunity to get in the desk the front office of every athletic director and decision maker in every D1 college in the country so that we can get Mandy in front of every fan of every D1 football, baseball, basketball, and hockey game to understand what those fans are thinking and feeling. We want them to get the results they need. We're excited. Additionally, we also have the opportunity to work with this company, TrueFan. TrueFan works with influencers. They help some of the largest companies in the world, as you can see, understand what their people, their customers are thinking and feeling, and they're using us and our proprietary tech to understand the sentiments, the words that people are using on social media to help them know how to brand themselves better. Listen, I'll end it with this. If they tell you words on a screen, we will tell you what they mean and convert them into green like you've never before seen. I want to invite you to connect with us if you have friends, family, investors. We want those relationships. My name is Jared Lafitte. Thank you so much.
My name is Jared Lafitte,
I'm Stephen Hahn.
and we are Mandy AI, an employee feedback analytics platform.
Hi, this is Rakesh, and the name of our company is Cubrix. We provide a enterprise blockchain platform which is geared towards enterprises who would like to adopt blockchain.
Hi, I'm Josh Pfeiffer, and this is Greg Nally. We are co-founders of Barn Owl.
We built a cellular camera system for farmers and ranchers so they can essentially put a camera on a water tank so they don't have to drive out so much.
I'm Brett.
And I'm JC, and we're the co-founders of Biteable Foods, and we're working to create a completely transparent food supply chain using blockchain and IoT sensors.
We applied to XI because we had been looking for sources of support to help us on our journey. We realized that the bootstrapping, method might take a while.
We were looking for a program that could provide us with a really impactful network.
Because the cohort size is small, the attention that each startup gets is actually what it requires.
What we've really gotten the most out of from the accelerator is the mentors and the network, and everybody seems very willing to be able to help us find what we need when we need it.
Everyone is really interested in helping the companies here, and everyone will work with you.
The fact that people who genuinely cared about me as a person helped me to make the business that we wanted to make.
The access to resources we've had here has made a huge, huge difference.
The biggest takeaway from the program will be the people by far. If we build this business for 15, 20 years and exit it in a wonderful fashion, the relationships will still outlast that.
Yeah, these are the type of people that we're going to keep up with for the rest of our lives. There's no question about it.
Now everybody, please give a warm welcome to Lee Fullman as he introduces Cubrix.
Hey guys, so I'm a technology guy. I have an undergraduate in computer science. I spent 12 years writing code, started a software company. And when I met Brennan and Rakesh, two things stood out. First, these guys are really smart. Second, I didn't know what the heck they were talking about. They were doing some stuff with blockchain that blew my mind. These guys were so far ahead of the curve. It took me a couple meetings to really hone in on what they were doing in terms of how they were taking the blockchain technology, building their libraries around it, and really creating a simplified set of libraries and products that enterprises could adopt. And I think they're really onto something special. So without further ado, I'm going to let Rakesh introduce you to Cubrix.
Good evening to all of you. I'm Rakesh, the CEO of Cubrix. So one of the most exciting things I found after being here just for 3 weeks now and have flown like 8,000 miles, I find it great to be here and get you to some blockchain and how Cubrix is trying to make it more better. So we have a vision where we think private and public enterprises are going to be some of the key drivers to make blockchain more usable and get it to the real consumers. And we are thinking, how can we make this journey easier and simpler for them? So as everybody knows or heard about it, blockchain has tons of use cases. There are disputes if this version is better or the other version is better. And then it's a new technology, so it's continuously evolving as we all speak. And it's hard for a startup to start somewhere. It's like, it's just technology. Where do we start as a business, right? And we picked up compliance as one of the first things to start with. Compliance as a sector, as a focus, and as well as a business. Why, you may ask? I will make it very simple. Blockchain is like truth of God, or like your karma. You can go wrong, you can go good, but you just cannot erase it. That's the funny thing about it. So we started with I-9 form. I-9 form is something which is used by both employees and employers. Every employee in the United States needs to fill it up, and employers need to verify it. It's just a one-page form. In a one-page form, you cannot go wrong, usually, right? So it so happens there is a company called Panda Express, and they just forgot one rule in the one-page form, and they got fined $600,000 by the Department of Justice. What was the mistake they made? Their HR department thought that if you're a permanent resident or a US citizen, and if some of your documents expire, you got to do it again. And the Department of Justice found you're doing discriminatory practices, so here's a fine. And now this form is entirely paper-based or just PDF, that's it. It's still very inefficient. So here are three things, people who are involved in this entire process. One is a person who fills up, the employee, employer, and the auditor, or the legal representative. Let's look at a case where Panda Express thinks blockchain is great. I'm going to build an application where I'm going to digitize these forms, and I'm going to get it working. So here are some of the things they are going to face. Because blockchain is so new, there is no established standard, and everybody thinks, every blockchain company feels they are the standard. So they've got a very fragmented ecosystem. And what are the technical issues? There is a real lack of future-proof encryption, so privacy of data is a big problem. Lack of business APIs, so it's just purely tech APIs. That's where blockchain is today, and how can you build applications on it? So what does it lead to? It leads to cost overruns, missed deadlines, and of course, it's a steep learning curve because it's a new technology, and most of the enterprises don't even have developers who have blockchain skills sometimes. Here is our solution. We start with data security and governance as a first pillar. We give them an intraoperable blockchain highway where you can not just adopt one application, but you can deploy multiple applications, multiple use cases as well on the same thing. And we also provide a future-proof encryption. We call this quantum resistant. To make it more simple, this is the same standard which is used by US government for the top secret documents. We also give a simpler developer API so that they can focus on building rather than worrying about it. And how does it help the industry? It helps in rapid development cycle and ensuring that whatever they build are conforming to the standards and the regulations. Here's how it went with Panda Express. We actually first started with digitizing the forms, creating an application on top of the Kuberix platform, which is, again, integrated with the blockchain. And here is how the real application looks like. Here is the form which an employee would fill up. He would have checkboxes, same as he would find in a paper. The only thing is that it's so smarter that you can't go wrong with it. And here is what the employer finds. The employer finds all the employees that has filled it up, when they join, when they were leaving, all the details that he wants. And here's the most interesting part. He also gets a dashboard where he can see that how much he has to pay as fine if he doesn't do the compliance. And how many days does it take for that? And we do a lot of analytics and give them back that data. And this also goes to the legal firms or the legal representatives who actually are employed by these companies. And here's our core architecture. We have a utility patent with a priority date of 2017. And at the heart of it, we call this nucleus. We have got blockchain, on top of which we have built our platform, which provides interoperability, APIs, analytics, and security. Here is how the market is. It's supposed to be around 2019, it's $1 billion market. And by 2022, it's 7.63 billion. That looks like a lot of money. And also, it's growing at 80% CAGR. But we are a more humble startup, so we just want to target like 10% of the market, which is $100 million. And that's our starting point. Here's a competitive landscape. Our competitors are trying to make it more like developer or technical, which means they're getting difficult to implement, whereas we believe in more simplicity, and we also believe in multi-purpose blockchain highways. Here's our business model. We work with C-suite guys, risk and compliance committees, and we also have a sales channel which comprises of outsourcers and consultants in the technology space. Our revenue comes from both recurring and non-recurring. So in the start of projects, POCs, we get non-recurring, which is like customization and professional services. But our recurring revenue comes from annual server and API license, and with also support agreements. Here's what we started. We started close to around 2016 as an idea, and we started doing a lot of market research, talking to people, and then we finalized that we could start building a company in 2017. And we registered in Delaware, and we started prototype development. We started again engaging with customers, saying that now we not only are just a PPT, but we have a prototype as well. And by 2018, April, we got our first revenue from the customers, closer to $50,000. And now, in August, we are going to production. And we already have a target of $400,000 to $500,000. And the good thing is, next week, we are completing that negotiation. We are hoping, with all this, we would go to a production implementation and growth, and by Q2 of 2019, we will have a public release, which is available to all the enterprises and the developers within those organizations, and we will be in Series A. Here's our validation and customer journey. We started with I-9 immigration compliance. We also have POC requests, demo requests, and 2 of the POC requests are related to 1031 exchange compliance and also real estate investment banking. And we hope to book an immediate revenue of $100,000 from those POCs. Here's what our customers think. One of the interesting facts about enterprise blockchain is that 80% of the projects are actually failing. So our customers look at Cubrix not just as a blockchain company, but as leaders who could take them to production-ready systems. And that is what we are proud of as a company. Thank you. And oh, here is one more thing about the team. We are a very diverse team. There is nothing more diverse, I think, you could get in that. I have around a decade of experience, and I manage close to 12 global projects spread across 12 countries. That was my last assignment. Rajiv comes about with 20 years of experience, a decade in Japan as well, with Merrill Lynch and HP. And Brennan is here, and he comes with a decade of experience in blockchain and bioinformatics. Catherine is our VP of Finance. She's based out of the Valley, and she comes with 30 years experience on it as well. We have got a very good, diverse set of advisors as well. We have relationships from business schools, cloud operations, legal, as well as to Deloitte Consulting, which is about healthcare and interoperability. Thank you all, and as part of my closing comments, I just flew like 8,000 miles, and I was not really sure how it would be in Colorado Springs. But, and the first morning, I just went out for a walk of 5 miles, getting all the beauty of the mountains, and being here and being part of this system and being able to interact with all of you, I found a lot of friendliness and the beauty that nature also provides. And thank you all for having me here and my team and my company. And thanks to XI, Vance, Betsy with her morning sessions, and also to Hannah as well as Ethan as well, and to my mentors, Leaf as well. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Rakesh. Now that our minds are completely blown by blockchain technology and Jared's completely pumped us up and whipped out the soapbox, we're going to keep this runaway train rolling and just keep on going. But before I do that, we need to really honor that the entire community came together, and we had lead mentors from near and far come together, but on top of that, we had the community. So if you ever received a 7 a.m. morning email from Hannah and I on a Sunday morning, if you ever met with one of our teams, or if you are on any one of these businesses here, can you just please stand up for a second so you can really honor your contribution to the accelerator? Nope. These are just a handful of the companies that really played a role in our accelerator, and we couldn't have done it without them. So if you're interested in being involved, want to know more about what we're trying to do, or really want to play a role in our accelerator program, come up to Hannah and I afterwards. In the back of your programs, there's actually a comment card. It's unfortunately not perforated, but you can still rip it out and give it to me. But please just let us know if you want to be involved. And with that, I would love to introduce the one, the only, Jedi Master Dustin Sapp.
Thank you. I hate you. So as Hannah mentioned earlier, you all know that I'm the new guy in town. What didn't get mentioned is that I spent the first 20 years of my career building and growing technology companies in a very, very vibrant tech ecosystem that had a history of publicly traded technology companies and multi-billion-dollar exits, et cetera. And so when we were evaluating where to grow FormStack and where to invest, frankly, the rest of our family's lives, the things that the mayor mentioned, those are table stakes. He mentioned those 3 or 4 items as the things that need to attract high-tech companies to a town like the Springs. And in reality, no, that's what everyone needs to have to even be considered. What sold us on coming here was when Hannah's at the EDC and immediately connects me with multiple tech CEOs in town. When Bill Miller talks about the investment that's taking place through his firm in this city. When Vance was talking about the concept of exponential impact on a phone, talking 8,000 miles a minute. I didn't think it was marijuana you were on, by the way. It was something completely different you were on that day. You can't talk that fast on weed. Not that I would know. Clearly. Absolutely. It's this ecosystem, it's the seed of this ecosystem that's going to attract more companies to come here. And frankly, it's not just the share wells that this town needs, it's the startups, it's the mid-sized companies, it's the angel funding, and it's every person in this room taking time and investing their time either with a company themselves or helping others that are helping those companies. Without it, you will never get to the type of ecosystem that this town can have. And frankly, like I said, it's why we moved out here and we're excited to be here. I've started several companies, and one of the things that I've noticed when I have focused on an area where I felt extreme pain in my career and really built my thesis around that pain and how to solve it and how to help other people solve it as well, that's when I've been most successful. And I would imagine Vance would say the same thing, and other entrepreneurs in this room would say the same thing. When I heard the Barn Owl story and the history of why Barn Owl got created, you inherently know that this company is going to be a winner. It has to be, because there's a passion there and a history there that's going to fuel a work ethic that you don't find in most companies. If you've never started a company or been part of an early stage company, you have no idea what these teams are going through. The really high highs and the really low lows and the desperation and the self-doubt that takes place until that next contract comes in. And so you need that fuel to get you to that next step. And every time I met with the Barn Owl guys, you saw that there. You saw if there was an argument, it was about, well, no, we don't want to take their money because we're going to grow too fast on our own, and we don't need to give up part of our business to somebody else. That's amazing. That's frankly when you should take money. Okay? It's called leverage. So, I'm very excited about what this team is doing. I told Josh earlier, it is a meat and potatoes kind of business. There's changing the world, and then there's just going out and making some money and then using that money to change the world, and that's one of the things I see Barn Owl doing, and really proud of the team and where they've come and excited to be working with them.
So thanks for the intro, Dustin. So Josh Pfeiffer at Barn Owl, we provide smart surveillance of remote assets. So you may recognize the kid on the horse. That was me not too long ago. Yes, I did eat a lot of meat and potatoes. Still do. Even as a kid, I used to travel around for hours a week to check on our ranch assets. Things like water tanks, windmills, cattle, gates. It's hugely inefficient. You can see I wasn't very happy about it. One thing that drives me crazy is inefficiency. You can ask my wife if you don't believe me. And you can see from my t-shirt that I wanted to be a superhero so I could fly around my ranch and just check on everything. Well, unfortunately, I didn't quite make that happen, but I did upgrade my horse a little bit. I'm not suggesting that ranchers get fighter jets, although that would be really cool. It might scare the cat a little bit, but no big deal. What I'm saying is in the Air Force, we get to use really cool monitoring and tracking technologies for assets all over the world. I can go to my computer and pull up a video feed from Afghanistan or anywhere else in the world. But I go home to Wyoming, Nebraska, and my friends and family are still driving around for hours a day to check water tanks that are 50, 100 miles away. It's usually time-consuming. It's a huge drain on these ag families. In fact, my ag family ended up losing our ranch and having to leave the industry. And it's still a big drag on ag families. Sure, there are surveillance systems, but they're expensive, they require infrastructure, and most of them require manual monitoring anyway. This leads to large-scale inefficiency and lack of security. We're focused on the ag market now. It's a lot of monitoring water resources, because if livestock or crops don't have water, then bad things happen quickly in the summer. But there's also an issue in other industries, including road construction sites, energy, and security, both public and private. We solve that. We make surveillance accessible, affordable, and automated. What does that mean? We provide an end-to-end solution that includes cellular-based cameras, the cellular data, the cloud-based analytics and storage of the imagery, and mobile access to your cameras. It's end-to-end mobile. They're solar-powered, super easy to install, and very affordable for our ag customers. Our cellular connectivity is global and secure. In fact, it's more secure than the Wi-Fi security systems I'm sure many of you have at home, and you can access the data from anywhere. Now that we have the basic platform in place, we can start to do cool things like automate alerting and reporting based on what our customers want us to do. Here's one example from deer ranches in Texas. They came to us and asked us to help them automate the monitoring of their deer ranch. So they tagged the imagery, we used that to train the artificial intelligence algorithms, and now we can automate actionable data, including keeping track of how many bucks they have, how many does they have, which is very important for private deer ranches, but also public wildlife managers as well. Our ranch customers are realizing big savings. On average, they're reducing their monitoring labor by about 55%. That's about $18,000 a year for the average ranch family, which is huge for them. You can see we're getting great reviews. And anecdotally, we're hearing great things. Things like we're changing their lives, we're giving them peace of their mind, and they're wishing they would have had this stuff their whole life. We're cash flow positive. We just went over. We just went over 100 customers this week in 31 states. Our digital marketing is doing very well at this point. Believe it or not, finding ranchers and farmers primarily through Facebook. So a dollar in marketing is equating about $14 in revenue at this point. And we believe this growth is going to continue through 3 waves of upcoming technologies. First is T-Mobile is releasing a nationwide low-band frequency cellular service. What does that mean? It means better service in rural territory and in Black Forest, if you live up there. And actually better building penetration in the cities as well. About the year after that, then all the cities, all the cell carriers are going to turn on their 5G service. For us, that means we can do reliable and cost-effective real-time streaming from higher-end cameras. And then a few years after that, we can use satellite internet to stream video from anywhere. This is going to dramatically grow our opportunity. Right now, video surveillance is about a $17 billion market in the US alone. I realize that's just in the 3% of the US that has the infrastructure to support video surveillance cameras. Using cellular and then satellite, we open up 77% land coverage, and we calculate that to be a $4.2 billion market opportunity. And we're using the ranch market as our beachhead into these markets. We do have some hunting and ag customers, as I've already talked about, but we're also looking at construction, energy, and in the future, security for both public and private agencies. As I said, focused on ag now, really trying to produce an affordable and scalable solution for large farms and ranches who need dozens of cameras. And then on top of T-Mobile 600 megahertz coverage, we're going to start to turn on real-time video and start to do some pretty cool things. And then when 5G gets here in about 3 years, that's going to blow this market open, and we can really start to do enterprise-level security with advanced analytics for numerous industries. So not to brag, but we're the only company here that's from Colorado Springs. We're started here. We're staying here, so join us. If any of you have ag family, hunting family, you have a remote cabin, we have a great solution for you now. I've talked to a few of you about moving into the construction industry soon, so if you have a great idea, we can create a tailored solution from you. If anybody knows the mayor, I think he left, not to call him out, but I think Colorado Springs could use a few thousand cameras maybe, so anyway, thanks for listening, and I want to say thanks to Vance and Betsy, and my mentors, Dustin and Connor, and thank you all.
What XI does is not what every other accelerator does, and that's why we're here. That's why we do what we do.
What makes XI incredibly unique and different from all other accelerators is our holistic programming. Things like awareness, mindfulness, an opportunity to really explore the outdoors in Colorado are key facets of our overall program. We have world-class speakers and mentors come in to speak to our cohort and not only lecture on a topic. They spend dedicated one-on-one time getting to the root of what each individual team needs and building on their expertise to really cater to the entire entrepreneur.
People often ask me why Colorado Springs. The number one thing that I say that Colorado Springs has that probably people here don't know because we live it every day is accessibility. We have access. You have access to people and places and things. Whatever it is, it's close. But why it matters for startups is the accessibility to business leaders, government leaders, investors. The people and the attitudes that they bring to the table are like, they start with yes.
What makes the Colorado Springs startup community incredibly unique is that even though we're in a city of a population just shy of 750,000 people, the startup community is very, very tight-knit. Working out of places like Exponential co-working, for example, gives the perfect opportunity for our cohort to meet people from all different diverse backgrounds.
That access, that ability to reach deeply into the organizations and the businesses who are building and growing and developing people in this community is really like nothing I've ever seen before. And I think that's the thing that sets Colorado Springs apart.
Working in the business community with startups located all throughout the city gives it a perfect opportunity for our startups to come to Colorado Springs and network with people from very, very diverse backgrounds doing amazing things all across the city, and that's why we chose to have exponential impact here in Colorado Springs.
You see it in the one-on-ones, you see it in our overall curriculum, you see it in the dinners that we have with leaders and investors, and you see it here today at Demo Day. The spirit of this community is yes. And when you're in a startup, access to people and businesses and investors, it's everything. We are so grateful for all of you who have partnered with XI, who have partnered with these teams, and if I haven't called you yet, I will. It's been an amazing summer for XI, and we're not done yet. This is just the beginning.
Now everyone, please give a warm welcome to Jan as he introduces Biteable Foods.
Grazie mille. I'm sort of freaking out right now, Vance, because I'll tell you, I've watched so many of these brush fires get started, and I really am sort of blown away by where you've taken this in such a short period of time. I've been in technology since the mid-90s, really since the internet started, in a way. I was one of a half a dozen people that went to Carnegie Mellon and got a piece of search engine technology, and we started Lycos, and it was a top 5 web destination for all 5 years we were there. It was the fastest IPO in the history of NASDAQ. The stock went up 39,000% while we were there, and we sold the company for $4.5 billion. I went from there and started a VoIP company in New York City that we also sold 2 years later. Over the course of the 7 years in those two businesses, we bought 61 companies in the Valley and Boston and New York City. And I was really super close to the bonfire in a lot of ways. And I actually moved out here on 9/11. I left New York City a week before the towers got hit. I'd owned a home out here, and my wife and kids, we decided we wanted to come out here. So I've been here 17 years. And out of that vacuum that sort of took place right after 9/11, I really was sort of a lost soul because I felt like I'd been so close to that bonfire that all of a sudden all that heat was sort of gone. The Valley retracted, Boston retracted, New York retracted. What was here in Colorado Springs, believe it or not, there were some pretty high flyers here in the mid to late 90s, and they all retracted. And I really, really did try to reach out. I was on the board of the original incubator here. I spent a year as an entrepreneur in residence up at CSU. In 12, I helped co-found Startup Colorado with Brad Feld and Phil Weiser, and tried to keep a pretty heavy hand with Chris and others on Peak Startup to try to figure out the best way to get this environment where it needed to be. And just so many brush fires, so many acronyms, so many promises, and so much of it just faded away for one reason or another. And I think some of that was passion, some of it was purpose, some of it was just maybe a lack of belief, Vance, to your point, that we just couldn't do it here, right? And for the last decade, I've sort of watched that change, and I've joined the bandwagon that said we're not Rodney Dangerfield about 8, 9, 10 years ago, because I got to know the entrepreneurs in the city. Chris Franz was quantitatively looking at how many of them there were, and I realized that there was a huge ecosystem here of entrepreneurs that were just sort of underground, and in some ways had sort of given up on any support system kind of coming and helping them out. And so when they asked me to mentor this, I gave them as many reasons as I could to Ethan why I probably couldn't do it this summer. And he just kept saying, well, that's okay, well, that's okay, well, that's okay. And so I wasn't begrudging, but I'll be honest with you, I just thought, I'll see what we can do and we'll help out, and who knows, maybe it's something, maybe it isn't. But I'm just so happily stunned by where we're at here. And it's not perfect, but I think the intensity that we've put into this whole effort and the belief that, frankly, you're helping create again. It's good that you weren't part of the ecosystem and that you weren't staring at all this for so long that you start, when you're in the hospital long enough, you start thinking sick is normal. And you weren't in the hospital, so you came in and said, I'm not sure I really believe this. And there's a lot of us that don't, that we really do believe this community could be amazing for entrepreneurs. And I think through this process, I just got to tell you, my faith is sort of renewed. And that's a hard button to push, I can tell you, because I've watched a lot over the last 17 years. So I thank you kindly, and all that ecosystem of all the people we've talked about up until now. And that brings me to my friends at Biteable. And I'm an Iowan, and they're Iowans. And I'm a Coloradoan now, obviously, but I'm not a native, so I can't put that bumper sticker on my car. But I always think back to a couple of things when I think of Biteable. One is I remember the ad in Business Week magazine for doing business in Iowa that said the average Iowa employee is 17% more productive than the average American. And that's never got lost on me. And when I got to know you guys again, I immediately said to Ethan, I want to work with the Iowa people. And Lisa's comment too, as part of all this, was like, do they ever laugh? Do they have fun? They just don't seem very happy, and kind of got to watch them through the whole process. And I remember my old man saying to me, working hard is hard work. And he never said that to me as a complaint, but he sort of said that to me as an Iowan, which is like, you just got to get out there and you got to dig in and you got to grind. And this was not a typical mentor underling relationship by any stretch of the imagination. I think I've learned as much from these two about how this industry is taking place and sort of what's going on there. I look forward to helping them in the future as well. And I think the coolest thing about companies like we've seen tonight is we are a community, like Vance said, where you do have AI, you do have blockchain, you do have cybersecurity right at our doorstep. And each of these companies, as you've seen tonight, have illustrated in a real life process what those terms actually mean. And this community is going to jump out in front as a result. And in this case, I think these folks are trying to solve one of the biggest problems we have as mankind. And so this is not a small idea. As Van Gogh said, nobody dreams small dreams, right? And what I love about these guys is they may not smile a lot, but they are probably 34% more productive than the average American. And I love them both, and I think they're going to have great success. So let me introduce Biteable.
Hi everyone, my name is JC Rittmer and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Biteable Foods. Happy birthday. Here's a cake. In this cake, there are 4 eggs, 1 cup of milk, 2 cups of sugar, 3 cups of flour, a big old cup of butter, and just a smidge of vanilla. Here's where those ingredients came from. An egg factory where hens live their entire lives in cages the size of a piece of paper. A factory dairy farm in Wisconsin where cows never go outside and are fed diets that make them sick. Sugar plantations in Cambodia and the Dominican Republic where farmers cannot send their children to school and they rely on modern-day slavery and child labor. And vanilla from Madagascar where farmers are kept in poverty even though vanilla is roughly the same value as gold. And guess what labels are on these products? Cage-free, organic, fair trade. Is this what you imagine when you see those terms on your food? We as consumers are being lied to about where our food is coming from. Confusing certifications, misleading marketing, and a stunning lack of regulation in food labeling has created a food system that is hidden from the public eye. Our food system is broken. We have created a food system that is inefficient and unsustainable in the name of consumerism, globalism, and efficiency. But we are unable to sustain this system, and something needs to change. When you go to the grocery store, it doesn't look like our food system is inefficient. There are shelves and shelves full of food from all over the world, every single corner of it. And these are creations, incredible creations of science, of efficiency, and of progress. Because of our food system, we can feed every single person on this planet. And because of our food system, we have access to a wide variety of affordable foods in every city in America. But this image of prosperity is false, and there is no such thing as cheap food. The way we produce food is destroying our water supplies, polluting our air, ruining our soil, and ending rural America as we know it. Farmers and ranchers receive only 14 cents per dollar sent to the grocery store, and this is in comparison to 30 cents in 1980. Monopolization in the food and agriculture industries has created a system that is continually polluting our environment, and that is driving out small and family farms, and that is increasing rural poverty. And food recalls and food fraud are becoming more serious and more frequent, and agriculture is the #1 pollutant of air and water. And as our population approaches 9 billion people, we will have to double our production of food by the year 2050. And why has this all happened? And who is at fault here? Is it our fault as consumers? Is all of this really happening because we don't care where our food is coming from? That we don't care enough about how our food system is affecting our environment? And that we don't care enough to ask for something better? It's not. 99% of consumers want more transparency from food companies. Specialty foods and organic markets are soaring, and farmers markets are more popular than ever before. And all of this points to one thing, that people want better. And not all food companies are bad. There are fantastic food companies out there doing wonderful, regenerative, and sustainable things, but their language has been stolen from them. Terms and words and certifications that are supposed to mean something mean nothing. And we as consumers have been slighted. The complexity of the food system has been hidden from us, and something has to change. Because shouldn't we have a right to know where our food is coming from? Shouldn't we have a right to know where our money is going and what it's supporting? And shouldn't we have a right to know that the decisions that we make are the best possible ones for ourselves, for our families, and for our communities? All of this is possible if only we can use the power of consumerism for good. If only we can give consumers the right to truly make informed decisions. Biteable Foods is making food traceable and transparent. We create trustworthy data chains with using blockchain technology and Internet of Things that tracks food from farm to fork. Because when consumers have the information they need to make the right decision about the products they buy, we can create a food system that encourages efficiency, sustainability, and humanity. So when we're able to actually create this food system, we can encourage farmers to create products that are better off, that are more sustainable. And Biteable Foods actually helps producers do those things. And we help them communicate those differences to their customers. We help them with traceability. We can minimize product loss for them because we are able to actually track those products all the way back. And in doing that, we can reduce the cost and risk of food recalls, which on average can cost $10 million and put a company out of business. We also help them with reduced food fraud by ensuring that companies that they're working with are providing products that are within compliance and that are actually not fraudulent. And we do that for middlemen in the supply chain as well. And middlemen are manufacturers, processors, distributors. And we help them ensure that all of the products they have are not fraudulent and are within compliance, essentially protecting their brands. And we do the same for retailers. Only in addition, we help them build relationships with their customers by providing products that are transparent, sustainable, and authentic. Our team is extremely excited about changing the food system for the better. Brett, our CTO, is a brilliant systems architect and engineer with expertise in the agriculture industry and a deep passion for informed health. Our lead developer, Michael, has experience working as a software developer for multiple Fortune 500 companies and actually grew up on a dairy farm in Wisconsin that was owned by his family, which just this year went out of business due to monopolization in the dairy industry. And I too grew up on a farm. I rarely ate anything that wasn't out of the garden in the back. And my background is in design and marketing, and I'm a self-taught front-end developer with 5 years and counting experience in the food industry. Together, we make a team of outside-of-the-box thinkers that have a drive to change the world and the persistence and the tenacity to pull it off. We have 2 pilots that we are extremely excited about. The first is Farmer's Hen House in Kelowna, Iowa, who aggregates eggs from around 100 different egg families in that area. You can find their products in nearly every single store that sells specialty eggs. Our second is with Calicrate Beef from St. Francis, Kansas. They are one of the highest quality beef producers in the United States. And if you shop at Ranch Foods Direct here in Colorado Springs, you know just how good Calicrate Beef is. And we are extremely excited to announce tonight that we are partnering with a company that offers internal traceability to every single major specialty egg company in the United States and in the world. They want to partner with us to provide consumer-facing transparency on top of internal traceability for all of their customers, who are moving anywhere from 100,000 dozen to 1 million dozen eggs per week. Needless to say, we are extremely excited for the next few weeks, and we'd like to invite you to be a part of it. New technology has put the possibility of a transparent food system within our reach, but we can't do it alone. We need connections with food mentors, food experts, and food companies who want to help us rebuild the American food system from the foundation up. So if you or someone you know fits one of those categories, please reach out. We would love to hear from you. Because food can be safer, food can be better, and because you deserve to know where your money is going and what it supports. And your communities, your farmers, and your producers have the right to be economically rewarded for producing products that are sustainable and high quality. And all of us as consumers If we come together, we can vote with our dollars and our voices for a food system that works better for everyone. Thank you all so much. It's been a pleasure to be here. Have a great night.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, everybody. You have heard us refer to, well, let's hear it for the teams, all of them, one more time. They've really been killing it this summer. You probably, even in this presentation, have heard us refer to these teams as teams, cohort, the startups, the companies. We've called you guys all kinds of things this summer. But right now, I just want to refer to each of you by name. Jared, Stephen, Rakesh, Brennan, JC, Brett, Josh, and Greg. It has been a tremendous privilege to work with all of you as individuals, as startups this summer. And I know I say that on behalf of the Exponential Impact team, our board, Vance and Betsy, your mentors, and the city, the community, who has all been a part of this summer. So I just want you to know that we see you as more than startups, as more than deal flow, as more than people who came through our first year program. You are way more than that to us now. And at launch camp, I think somebody referred to me as Mama Bear, because I think people think I can be intense sometimes. That won't stop just because this is done today. So I look forward to staying with you all. And I'm sure everybody here, including some of you, are wondering, what's next? That's the question I've been getting the most today. So what's next for Exponential Impact and for these teams, cohorts, companies, startups, whatever you want to call them? So what's next for the cohort? So because we're in our first year developing this program, we are not in a position to say this is the post-accelerator program, but we are hosting a post-accelerator program. And the way that looks for now is customized really to each and every one of these teams. So based on what their teams need, some of them are gonna have the ability to stay here in Colorado Springs. You know, Barn Owl's already here. Biteable's gonna be able to stay in the community for at least a while. So those teams will have automatic continued access to Epicentral co-working, to staff hours, to all of those things. So they'll be able to keep going. Mandy AI is gonna go home for a bit and then return to Colorado Springs. They already plan to move here. Right? And so we will continue the same thing with weekly check-ins with that team, working with them as they all consider deals, and then trying to figure out how we can accommodate and make their move successful as they grow their companies. And then in addition to those things, we will be just including all of the teams in all of our future growth of Exponential Impact. So as we develop future programs, they're automatically in. So as you all become alumni, you're just part of the XI family forevermore. So with that, I want to go ahead and extend an invitation to you all for Launch Camp of 2019. So we want you to come participate, come join the teams, and onboard you as mentors, because having been the first cohort and been through this process, I think you're going to have a tremendous amount to add to future companies who come through the program. So welcome forevermore to the XI family. You can't depart from us even if you wanted to. So additionally, one of the things that we're looking at doing, and I'm putting this out there in case you in the community want to help us do this, is these teams have been working so hard, and they'll have tremendous opportunities in front of them right now. And so one of the things we're looking at starting Monday is how do we help them with some of the professional services they need to even just manage their everyday, to catch up and really be prepared for follow-on funding or increased sales or whatever their next step is. So we've already got some ideas on how to do that. That may be legal, accounting, some social media, some announcements, those types of things. So we will be working with them to help move to the next stage. So if you're interested in working with me and them on that, just let me know. So what's next for Exponential Impact? So, oh, you did make that. I told him make that slide prettier, and he really did. That's really nice. So we're going to debrief with the teams immediately following this with our mentors, our investors, our volunteers. It was our first time running this program, and we have learned a lot already. I know that we have more to learn, and we'll be asking a lot of you who are involved with us, how do we make this better for our next program? We also are finalizing applications for the 2019 program, and we'll continue to build that out. Those will go live in November, and we're going to have applications for the next program on a rolling basis this year for rolling admissions because we do want to have 10 teams participate. So we will also be doing outbound recruiting. So Ethan is putting together his travel plans to go to locations where we know there are incubators and places that support industries of those we're seeking. So I'm sure he's going to be back in Chicago and many other places to try to recruit teams for the next program. We anticipate moving to our home base at the North Nevada, 3650 North Nevada with the Cybersecurity Center and with UCCS in hopefully early 2019 so that we can continue to build up our year-round programming. So we do have some dates that I would say are pretty firm for 2019, so we already saved the dates for launch camp, likely the third, fourth week in April, and then we will have our kickoff for the 2019 Exponential Impact Accelerator cohort, June 13, and then that program will be 14 weeks, so we needed a little more time, I think, and we're going to take that next year, so the teams have a little more time to build. And so we anticipate the 2019 edition of this event, September 19th, 2019. So you heard it from Andrew. Investing in the ecosystem has really paid off for William Blair. So if you want to do that, I will help you. Okay, so if you want to participate with Exponential Impact, please let me know. So we are so far, this is just what we know today. We are so far from done with these companies. We've only begun. Sorry, I gotta make sure I don't forget anything. Boy, I just did all this without my script. So with that, I think I'm ready to recognize a few people on our team. So we're almost finished. So the people I would like to recognize is first, where did Ethan go? Ethan Lavin. Ethan interned with me at the Chamber and EDC when he was a senior at Colorado College and then moved to Boulder to work with a startup. And we were able to successfully recruit him back here, and thank heavens you came back because I couldn't have pulled this off without you. So thank you for all your hard work. That's the extent of the full staff for Exponential Impact. So thankfully, there were a few people that helped us out along the way. And I first want to mention Michelle Parvenru, who has been amazing before Exponential Impact. Long before we existed, she's been working with the startup community. And man, she is in her element when she gets with and works with the teams in their pitches. And just organizing and details and executing 11 weeks of curriculum was no joke, and she really helped keep that together. She helped us plan a lot of the details for this event, so Michelle, thank you so much for your work. John Bolin, he is his actual real profession is master architect and builder of styrofoam letters and numbers. So, so many of you have asked me where I got those. He's the man. But no, John Bolin is really one of the most creative people I've met, and I've had the privilege of working with him through the beginning of, from the beginning to now of Exponential Impact in his creative director role. He was executive producer for this event. I told him earlier I can spell AV, and that is it. So, so thank you, because we also couldn't have done this without you. Steve Thompson, where's Steve? Steve Thompson, he happens to be my personal trainer who keeps me sane, and my family, probably. And he took the time to take our teams on guided hikes to get them out into the outdoors. So some of that health and wellness stuff that we tried to manage, he really got the teams out there and did that. So Steve, thank you so much for your work with our group. And then finally, we've mentioned how Exponential Impact is different from other accelerators, and we talked about the launch camp, but the other piece is the holistic curriculum. And if you don't know Betsy Brown, she is a true gift. And one of the best things has been getting to work with her and know her through this program. And so, Betsy, would you come on up here, please? We opened our weeks each week with a goal setting Monday morning, 9 a.m. Monday morning, 9 a.m. See how we do 9 a.m. No 7:30 stuff with Exponential Impact, but Monday mornings at 9 a.m. with goal setting and what Betsy called Mindfulness Mondays. And I will tell you that I had one team member about mid-session tell me, Hannah, you know what? Betsy saved my life. I spent some time with Betsy one-on-one and it just saved my life. And I think that is evidence of how important the holistic curriculum is for Exponential Impact and keeping our companies sane and productive and well. And so I've asked Betsy to kind of close us out in for this whole session and for the program in the way that she started the teams each Monday morning. So with that, all the teams, all the Exponential Impact teams, the Vance, come on up here. Chris, come on up here. Michelle, John, and you companies, come on. Barnow, Mandy, all of you, okay.
Okay, well, everyone's coming up here. It's just been a privilege. I think I had the best job of anybody. I got to basically play every Monday morning and make them do crazy things. And I might make you do crazy. No, I won't make you do crazy things. I had them do yoga. Yeah. So you never knew what you were going to find when you showed up on Monday morning. But just our special sauce is this holistic model that we want to build thriving companies, but more than that, we want to build thriving leaders and thriving humans. And we value each and every one of these people as people, and what they bring has been a joy for me. And so we've just really mindfulness, self-awareness, leadership, all these things are just core to who we are. And so we would always do an experiential activity. So I want to just like close with some of that. And so if you guys, we're just going to do a minute of breathing mindfulness. So I just want everyone to close your eyes for a minute, everyone on stage too. And just take 5 deep breaths. And I'm just going to give you just a second to take 5 deep breaths just to kind of clear out your mind. In and out. After those 5 deep breaths, I just want you to imagine in your mind 3 people, places, things that you're grateful for. Just call to mind those things. So you can open your eyes. So that's exactly how we want to end this whole program, is in gratitude, because we are so grateful for everyone on this stage, grateful for everything you guys have brought. So grateful for everyone in this room, everyone in the community who has supported us. It's been an amazing experience. It's truly humbling to be part of it. So thank you, and thank you so much.